Emotional intelligence is the number one most important skill you can learn, you can build. And I know this for a fact as I used to be one of the least emotionally intelligent people ever out there in existence. And I didn't know anything about my emotions. I always felt that I was supposed to suppress my emotions because I was a guy and that guys aren't supposed to feel emotions. But that's just not true. That's just a lie that we're told. We're told to think with our thoughts and not think with our emotions, not actually feel. And this suppressing of my emotions set me back years in basically learning emotional intelligence and really understanding my true authentic self. So I want to tell you here about how emotional intelligence is the most important skill that you can build and actually how to do that. And by gaining self awareness, by really searching inside you, whether through journaling or meditation or through introspection, really understanding how you're feeling on a daily basis and why you're feeling that, you're going to understand that there's a lot of things in your life that are making you feel a certain way, and you've basically been going in this kind of endless loop of repeating the same mistakes over and over and over again. And I know for one thing that I used to be a very shy person. I used to not be able to talk to anybody, and I was always so fearful. And I thought this was just the way that I was. I thought that was just the way that I was wired. And every single time I was given the opportunity to introduce myself to somebody new or speak publicly or just speak to somebody, every time I kind of refrained from that, every time I held myself back, I was basically going in the same cycle where I was creating more fear and I was creating an example for me to look back on the next time I was faced with a similar decision to be like, well, look, you didn't do it that time. You didn't put yourself out of your comfort zone, so that's just the type of person that you are. And I didn't understand that this emotion of fear was completely driving every single decision I was making. And I didn't realize that these aren't the right decisions. Any decision that you're making out of fear is not the right decision. And I realized that if I wanted to be making correct decisions, if I wanted to be really expressing my true authentic self, then I had to start listening to love. I had to start letting love guide my decisions, which I know sounds pretty cliche, and how do you actually do that? And this is just my 2 cents on the issue, on the topic, is that anything that's fearful is basically telling you not to do something, telling you you shouldn't do this for fear of what other people are going to think of you, or for fear of embarrassing yourself, or for fear of making a mistake, or for fear of failing. And the loving mindset, the way love will guide you is to say, maybe you shouldn't do it, maybe you should, but here are the ways that you're going to feel better about yourself if you do this, or you're not going to have these same regrets. I know that thinking about fear, maybe in the way of investing in the stock market, people want to tell you that you should invest now for fear of missing out. FOMO is a huge thing about how people try to basically force you to do stuff that you know deep inside that you want to do don't want to do, that's not right for you. But if you're going by other people's emotional guidance systems and not really staying true to you, staying true to what's in right here, not home, the heart. Well, actually, that's actually pretty funny. Home is where the heart is where the home is. But emotional intelligence is so valuable in understanding not just yourself, but how you interact with other people and how you really view yourself in the world around you. I know that my personal relationships with other people, my interpersonal relationships, as well as my relationship with myself, have just become far more harmonious. A lot less arguing, a lot less mental arguing with myself, but a lot less arguing with other people, because I now truly, the more I've become emotionally intelligent, the more I've been able to put myself in other people's shoes and really understand why they're feeling the way they do. And we can't always understand how people feel and why they feel a certain way because we aren't them. We don't experience life through the same two eyes, through the same lenses that they do. We don't have the same life experiences as them. But we also realize at a deeper level that we're all connected, that we all face the same emotions, we all face fear, we all face love. And when you're able to face fear with a sense of love, with a sense of kind of carefreeness, when you're able to really open up, spread your wings and or your metaphorical spiritual wings and fly, that was a completely different rant that I just went on. Sticking back on emotional intelligence, when you really become more in tune, more in touch with your emotions, you really understand them for what they are. And that's the most true and the most valuable guidance system that you have. When you're always paying attention to your thoughts and letting your thoughts drive all your actions, you're going to be going absolutely insane because your thoughts are just lies, your thoughts are just illusions, and your emotions are always telling you the truth. Your emotions are how you feel about a certain situation, how that situation makes you feel inside, or how you feel about yourself or a certain person. And if you're feeling negative emotions, that's a sign that this situation or this event doesn't resonate with you and that you should make a change. And if you're feeling a positive emotion such as happiness, peace, something that I feel when I'm just making these videos and expressing myself, it's something that I know that I'm on the right track. And one thing that I really, a big mindset shift that I had is that when I was going through mental health issues, anxiety and depression, I was always feeling these negative emotions, and I thought that this reflected my state of being, but I didn't realize that these negative emotions were basically trying to push me to basically search deeper and to really understand why I was feeling them and understand that I could transcend them and use these as a learning experience. And I think this is why emotional intelligence is just so important to know, because if you don't understand why you're feeling certain emotions, again, you're just going to be going on and on and on in the same loop, and you're going to be making the same mistakes, and you're always going to, nothing in your life is really going to change. You're not really going to experience the true magical mystery, beauty, whatever you want to call it, that life really is. Life is the grand magic show, and our emotions are basically just guiding us. They're kind of the wind in our sail. They're telling us which direction we want to go in. You can, down here we have fear, and up here we have love, say, and we have a little ladder. You can choose wherever on the spectrum you want to be at. I know that I always used to be down here, and through basically learning emotional intelligence through journaling, meditating, writing, making music, listening to music, I've started to gradually climb up and up and up, and understand that it's kind of like as climbing up a mountain. It's hard. It's going to require some work. It's going to require some effort. But then again, the benefits are really worth it because you're going to have a real sense of inner peace, a real sense of inner love, self-love, whatever you want to call it, that I know I never used to have without learning emotional intelligence. And again, the way that I taught myself emotional intelligence is by writing. I wrote a poetry book called You Know Who You Are, which is I also called Wolf Intelligence. And learning emotional intelligence through this manner, I really brought myself out of my comfort zone. I pushed myself out of my comfort zone and really dealt with my negative emotional issues head on. I dealt with all of my insecurities, such as the fear of expressing myself, my shyness. I think that was really the root of all my causes, and that really brought all these negative limiting beliefs to my mind, such as I'm not worthy or my opinion isn't worth expressing. And I know we all feel these kind of limiting beliefs all the time, and that's fine, but it's also great to understand why you're feeling these. And through emotional intelligence, you really start to understand that these thoughts are nothing more than just stories. And you can choose to believe them, you can choose to not believe them, but you believing in them is going to give them power. You not believing in them is going to take their power away, and you have all the power. You choose what you want to believe in. But emotions aren't something that you can believe in. Emotions are true whether you pay attention to them or not. Emotions are true whether you are aware of them or not. And I used to not be aware of my emotions at all. Again, as a guy, we're not really taught to be emotional. We're taught to hold it all inside because we're supposed to be the strong ones. But there's really strength in emotional vulnerability and strength in being emotionally intelligent, because you're not letting emotions run your life anymore unconsciously. You're aware of your emotions, you're aware of why you're feeling a certain way, and this is really kind of a cheat code or a hack. I wouldn't even call it a cheat code, but basically the key, you push into your ignition and it really opens up a huge box of everything you've been suppressing in your life. And once I learned to really let go of all these negative emotions, I realized that all these positive emotions, this inner peace, this stillness, this self-love, was trapped, hidden inside me, hidden under piles and mountains and tons of negative emotions. And if you're feeling this way, understand that to get to these positive emotions, you're going to have to face these negative emotions, this fear, this anger, this hatred. You're going to have to face it with love. And that's the most important lesson that I learned on my emotional intelligence journey. And I understand that emotional intelligence is always something that you can keep improving on. But I think it's the most important skill that you can cultivate. And all it takes is your effort, all it takes is your attention, all it takes is just looking inside and trying to feel your emotions, asking yourself, why do I feel this way? Asking for the lesson that your emotion is teaching you in this moment right here.